What's up YouTube, God Mode Duelist here. Welcome to part 6 of how to be a better frog player. Today I'm here to talk to you about possibly the most complicated form of frog deck ever, which is frog beatdown. Now, two ways you can play this. You can play this the fast way, which will get you killed turn 2, or you can play this the slow, complicated, fun way, or you can go learn how to speak Braille. But, yeah. Speaking Braille would probably be easier than learning how to run this deck. This deck is literally in another language. This takes the utmost concentration. You could probably learn how to make a spirit bomb easier than running this deck. But, moving on. This deck is one of the sickest OTKs you can ever pull off on a living being, ever. Reason being is because all these tiny ass dudes grow into tiny ass big dudes. Like, first things first. In order to start the process of making your dudes big, you must set up your dudes. Now, this can take years of practice or just one full night of just playtesting. So, yeah. What you do is you sort of run it like FTK, where you dump your frogs, only you do it slower, and you pay attention to what you're dumping. Now, priority. You must always dump your treeborns, always dump your Ronin totems. Now, reason why I say you must be careful on what you dump, DD Crow is a bitch. If they crow away your treeborns, you can at least rely on one Ronin totem. If they crow away your Ronin totems, keep your backfield clear until all is good for your tree boards. And if everything goes away, well then we'll get to that later. Now, this deck can get to the point where you will not even need to fear anything. No oppressions, no King Tigers, no none of that. You will not need to fear anything. Now, this deck is very, very technical. 90% of this deck is timing, then the others is just how hard and long can you fap to annoy your opponent. And by fap, I mean fap. This is, like, if you play this deck right, you will go into time, game 1, your first turn. Now, this is the deck where it is okay to go second. Preferable to go first, but that's where it gets even harder to run this deck. So, first things first, you run Wetlands. Wetlands is the steroid of this deck. This is the automatic, your dudes get huge. So, if you don't know what it does, level 2 or lower aqua type water monsters, 1200 boost. Bam. Submarine frog just doubled in attack. Now, next card you want to run, Solidarity. Why? Because everything in this deck is an aqua, and hey, I like pairing this with Wetlands to give everyone a 2,000 point boost. It's even bigger. Why not? So, yeah. Pretty much, this deck, you end up with 5 frogs, since Ronin Totem makes it ridiculously easy. You end up with 5 frogs, with Wetlands and several copies of Solidarity on the field, and you laugh really hard as you swing for big. Now, ways to make sure your frogs make it till then, live through there, or you don't deck yourself out or go crazy and eat like a baby trying to run this deck. Now, when you dump frogs, if you have a Pot of Avarice in hand, it is fine. This deck runs 3 copies of this. Now, it may be hard to draw into this, but that is why you also run Hand Destructions and a Moray of Greed. 3 Moray of Greeds. You do not run Card Destruction in this deck. Why? Because this is not FTK, and this is the deck where you can run traps, but every spell counts. Now, Crow. Yes, it's annoying, but never fear. Burial from a different dimension is here. Run 1. Why? Because 3 crows. You know what Burial does? Brings 3 things back. Bam. Crevice to a different dimension? Another story. Still, Burial. Amazing card. They crow, you keep going, After that third crow lands or whatever, how many done, like, they're crow fapping, you burial and you laugh at them. So, yeah. That will secure your Treeborns and make sure your Ronin Totems still stay. Now, couple of tech choices. When you attack, before you activate Battle Phase or anything, because Trap Stun is a bitch, Aegis. Aegis keeps your frogs safe from Mirror Force. Sucks when you run across a D prison, but keeps them safe from Mirror Force. Now, another tech card that I personally like to run. This, like, I originally ran Transmigrational Prophecy to turn my 3 Pot of Avarices into 5 Pot of Avarices, but instead, you can run Pot of Benevolence. If you don't know what this card does, it is the spell version of Transmigrational Prophecy. The difference is you can only play 1 per turn, which is great. Hey, I'd like to do this. Moray of Greed, 2 random monsters back. So yeah. Now, I will probably make another video showing you how you should just tutorial your way, because otherwise I will be here talking for 20 minutes about how to run this deck. Like, this deck takes forever to explain. So, this is pretty much the beatdown of how, like, this is the beatdown version of Frogs. This is one of the most complicated decks I've ever ran. Like, really, this deck is stupid complicated. So, yeah, this is part 6. I will make another video explaining how to actually step-by-step run this deck. So, yeah, peace out, YouTube. Guys, by Duelist here.